Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world. My name is Jade, and this is How to App on iOS. Boom. And today it's time for episode 47 of The Rant. Okay, boomer. Hello, and welcome to the show. I hope you're all doing good. My name is Jade, and this is How to App on iOS. And it's a Monday morning here in Australia, and I'm feeling good. How are you all feeling out there? I'm sure you're enjoying the remnants of the end of the weekend, being Sunday where you are, and straight away, Paul O'Farrell has become a ward warrior. Hello, boom, boom, dish, douche, bush. And Joe Glenn is here, and Ali's here, and Jenny Jolivet, and Thomas Christ. What's happening, Thomas? And Edward Richard, hello. And Barry Glenn's in the house. The Glenn's had a big weekend. Hitting the sauce. Hitting the sauce, man. Hitting the sauce. So there we go. Episode, is it 47? We're getting close to 50 of these things. Chris Lane Sr., what's going on? Kim Harden Hudson, heating up dinner, boom. So blankets of love, and yeah. Careful what I say about boomers. I'm scared. I'm very scared. Now, Robert Redmond's Clip Channel, hello to you. Paul O'Farrell, hey dee ho. Whoa, man. Mateus, g'day, good to see you. Russ, everyone's here. You all come to see how I'm doing after the weekend. Well, I'm good. I'm feeling good, man. Yesterday I was a bit of a mess. If you saw, I went on Cam Gmo's show and I was a little bit wasted. I was a little bit under the weather. But I'm feeling good today. So I've got a new microphone. If you hear it on the channel, we've upgraded our microphone here. You probably can't tell any difference whatsoever. I was previously using this, I've been using this lavalier by Rode for the longest time here. This is the Rode lavalier, but the cable with this thing is, look at that. It is so horrible. And it sits in a little headset, and it gets, what happens is, guys, is it gets squashed, and then the wire becomes loose, and you got to move it around. Terrible wires, really horrible wires. So I upgraded to the lavalier 2, which has is it called Kevlar? Kevlar. Is that what it's called? So it's indestructible, not indestructible, but much better. It's a bigger microphone. It's a condenser mic like the other one, exactly the same sound, but upgraded for strength. So hopefully it lasts a bit longer, because those other microphones, they last only about 8 months, and then because the cords are so thin. I look energized, do I? Well, I am energized. Kevlar, that's it. So yes, if you're wondering, my girlfriend has gone. I just said goodbye to her about 20 minutes ago. Bye, Bex. She's on the driving home. She got work and stuff to attend to. What a great weekend. She stayed over here for a couple of nights, and it was awesome. Yes, it was awesome. Good time. Brad Example. Hello, Brad Example. What's going on? So what are we here to do today? Well, I'll tell you a little bit about what's happening here on the channel. Bulletproof cord, absolutely. Got to, because I'm a bit rough, I move around, and I'm not. So, what is happening? I haven't set up all the shows for this week, so this new model of the channel that's been running now for 2 weeks, and I hope people are enjoying the pre-recorded demos here on the channel. They are continuing this week. This week we're going to be looking at an app that's currently on order, FAC Fizz, is that what it's called? So that's going to be out either today or tomorrow. I'm looking at a bunch of preset packs from Yokob Hack and DMT Somatics. So we'll be doing that for pre-record videos. As you can tell, I still have this frog thing in my throat that I can't shake. Also, this week on the channel, we're continuing on creating the Adam Burst cover. That'll be a bit later in the week this week. And tomorrow, I'm not sure exactly what's happening, but Wednesday or Tuesday, your time, US, UK, will be Walk With Me, where I went to the Banksy exhibition and also walked around Melbourne doing cheap eats, finding cheap food around Melbourne that's really tasty and awesome. And so that'll be on the channel this week as well. Also, just to let you know, tomorrow coming up is a little special show on Thomas Christ's channel. He's doing a You Rock UK Euro special. That's in about 16 hours' time from now. It's 1 a.m. for me, so I'm most likely going to miss it. But go over to Thomas Christ and set your reminders, because a lot of the UK Euro people miss out. And Thomas every now and again does one of these special shows where he specializes this stuff. So, you know, my notification's on even though I will be asleep. And yes, Ali, it is Banksy week. If you don't know who Banksy is, I don't know what to tell you. He's an artist. And look, here's the show. Here's the Walk With Me. It's all ready to be edited. This is what it looks like before it gets done and all chopped up. There's the Banksy exhibition. So it was utterly amazing. Look at that. So they'd recreated actual art that he'd done into real rooms and stuff. It was a really incredible experience. I can tell you, if you have a Banksy exhibition near you in your country, you should go and check it out. As I said, we did like this. I did something a bit different with food, and I went and grabbed food and sat in laneways eating food. Woohoo! Oh, a bit of años there. So, yeah, finding super cheap eats, food that you may not have heard of before, like kebabs. Is that what they're kebabs? Korean sushi and stuff like that. Anyway, so that'll be, once I edit this down today. And I do believe on the show this week, we're doing, the interview this week will be a little bit different. I'm doing a feature this week. So it's not an interview as such. It's a feature on an artist and their new album. And we're hoping it all goes down, but it's Maze Inn Music Lab. And we're going to pre-record that interview. He's going to come on. Then I'm going to edit all this down and do this really nice feature. Maybe just go over a little bit of over an hour, and that'll happen on Thursday instead of an interview. So expect some of this stuff. It just won't be an interview every week. Trying to do more piece together things, more complex stuff, and presentations and such, instead of just sitting here and whatever happens. So hopefully you are digging that content. We're 10 minutes in, so I guess you're here for the rant. You want me to start ranting about something? Okay, so we're here to rant. Let me begin. Now, many people assumed immediately that this show was going to be about somebody in particular. Somebody who is rather well known in the YouTube community by the name of Rick Beato. A lot of people just assumed that's what this was going to be about for some apparent reason. And to a degree, it is. But it isn't. But it's inspired by things he says. And I need to say this out. This is not a critique of Rick Beato. This is not beating off on him or putting him down or slagging him at all in any way, shape, or form. He has my utmost respect. I've been subscribed to him for many, many years, and he is yet another voice that has value, no matter what, right? No matter if you agree or disagree, he is somebody that is polarizing, and you know, he has great value and great experience, and we can all learn things from him. But you know what? We don't always agree on things, and that's okay. It's the way you talk about things that, makes it. If I went onto his channel and then wrote, "You're an idiot," and I don't agree, then you're the idiot for engaging like that. But you're allowed to disagree and then have open conversations. And it's one of the things that Rick Beato does on his channel is try to encourage discussion. And that's what I try and do here as well. All right. That's what these rants are about. I'm not trying to tell you the way to do things. Right. So there is that. But let's start. So this is a rant on music and the way we consume music and the way we make music today. Right? But I want to go way back in time to little me, where I didn't fit in anywhere. Yeah, I didn't fit in anywhere. And in a sea of mediocrity, of people around me in high school, I remember just of bland, vanilla, boring people listening to fucking boring, typical music that just represented exactly who they were. And we all kind of, go through that when we're young. You try to find a place where you fit in. It makes sense to you that you feel like you belong. And it's not always easy because you're a blank slate initially, and you develop your skills, your speaking skills, your thinking skills, your mathematics skills, all these things you develop, and that creates your character. So we all are blank canvases as children. But I just remember being very young and being surrounded by a lot of people, loving music from a very early age. And look, it didn't matter what style of music it was, I just loved it. Like I grew up in a house where my mum listened to a lot of disco and, Olivia Newton-John, but she listened to Led Zeppelin as well and stuff like that. So she listened to a lot of broad music, and my dad listened to zero music. He listened to horse racing, and it was gross and horrible. But as I began to listen to music myself, I kind of initially, I think many of us we're influenced by our parents, and that's why I ask when I have people on the show. I ask people about the music that was played in their house when they were growing up, because it's a fascinating question to me, because I think many of us monkey see, monkey do, and the things that are around us when we're forming our personality and our, us as people. We tend to flock to the things that are familiar to us. And as a kid, that's imprinted on us because that's the thing that's familiar and around. And that happens with music, yeah? So I remember being in high school and just feeling like with music, because it was the 80s for me. I was born in 1972 and went through the 70s and all that jazz. And in the early 80s, of course, I listened to 80s music, and I still love 80s music. But I felt like I didn't fit in anywhere. Everybody was just homogenized, boring, weird. Not weird. What am I saying? Just, yeah. Everyone was so cookie cutter. And I felt like I didn't fit. And there was something a bit different about me. And I don't know. It was heavy metal that changed it. And I got into metal very quickly and went from, just Iron Maiden and stuff within, it felt like weeks. And then I was into Slayer, and everything was just getting faster and faster, and I wanted more and more extreme. As soon as I got into metal, I just wanted it more extreme day by day, to the point that I was listening to stuff that was unlistenable to most people. And that drew a target on my back, because now I was what I wanted. I stood out. I was different, and I was now a part of this group of people that were, I don't know, hated. I don't know what it is about my life. I've always gravitated to I guess, people that are hated by mainstream. But then the mainstream, there's so much to hate about being a part of that, because it's so boring. It's just so goddamn navel-gazing, vanilla custard, yuck. And listening to metal, it was great, because I felt like now I fit somewhere, and I had a style of music that really appealed to me and made sense, and I wanted to explore every avenue of it, and I really wanted to play it, and I wanted to make it. I wanted to listen to it. I wanted to look for all the different styles of it. I wanted to collect it and buy as many albums as I could, because, we're going to touch on this as well. Rick Beato has this fantastic video, which caused a lot of controversy, right here, called What the Fuck? Is that the one? What the fuck happened? Right? And this caused a lot of controversy, because he talks about the way we consume music. And it's true, back then, you would go out and buy albums. And you would sometimes buy albums based on the album cover without even hearing it. And go, what, that's all right. And you get it home and put it on and go, oh, man, that's dog shit. It had to have happened to you here in the chat, or if you're watching on the replay, it had to have happened to you because it was a different time and the way we consume music was completely different to how it is today. And you ended up a lot of the time with a record collection full of some stuff that you just go, nah, and flick by every time and go, that's never getting listened to ever again. But that artwork, man, that should be in a gallery. And that's probably the point. That artwork should never have been on that album. It should have been hanging up somewhere for me just to go look at. And that was a problem. So in this video that Rick Beato does, he said, what the fuck happened? The real reason why music is getting worse, I don't agree that music's getting worse. There's always been shit music. There's always been shit music. There's always been a larger number of artists throughout history since record labels have had this monopoly on the whole industry and controlling the way music is consumed and who can afford it and all that stuff. There's always been a larger number of shit music compared to good music. And that's what brings me to an argument, which we'll get to soon. What exactly is good music? Like Rick Beato, the one thing I disagree with Rick Beato, he does a lot of shows on why this song is great. And a lot of it is music that is Billboard music, that is top 40 music, that is music that has been pushed to the moon by a record label, right, and had the ability to be heard by millions of people. And that doesn't necessarily mean it's good music, because there's tons of great songs out there that nobody's ever heard. And that's important to keep in your mind. Right, there's so many artists that have sat on record shelves that people flick by and never buy, and on those albums are great songs with amazing songwriting in them. It all just depends on how hard they were pushed, how they were discovered, right place, right time. There's so much that goes into how a band is discovered and how it's pushed to the moon. And it doesn't necessarily mean that just a Billboard artist is always great music. There is, and that is true too. Crazy Rabbit says there's no such thing as good or bad music. There's only music. And that's where I'm heading to with this point about the OK Boomer thing. The topic of this is not about Rick Beato. It's about being able to identify when you're starting to become your parents. It's a hard thing to stay on top of, but we'll rewind a little bit more because, can I have a vape? I'm running out of breath today. I'm so excited about this topic. And hello, Crazy Rabbit. And covered by CQ and E-Urban and anyone I've missed who's here in the chat. Thanks for joining us today. So, I'm listening to metal, right? I feel like I fit, and I'm going to all these metal gigs, and I'm buying all these metal albums, and a good percentage of these metal albums I'm buying on vinyl, mind you, I'm not listening to ever again. So let's just set the scene again. You know where I am. The problem that occurred during that time was before I found metal, I enjoyed all styles of music. But then all of a sudden feeling like I felt like I fit somewhere now and had found the music that represented me, that I felt represented me, also put on blinkers, very, very closed blinkers. And I started to look at other styles of music and go, that's shit. That's crap. I don't like that. That's rubbish. That's not real music. And that's a thing that people fall into the trap with, that they forget that it's all music. Just because you don't like it or it's not your particular taste doesn't mean it's any less, right? Or or not good or not music. And that's a hard thing to identify. And I know lots of metalheads right now who are my age, 50, and they're still like that. They've lived their whole life missing out on so much music that is outside of metal. Just because they're like, but it's only metal, and I'm always going to be metal right to the end because fucking and they spent so much time making sure that they're metal all the way to the grave that all these influences and all this great stuff is just whizzing by them, and it's not getting incorporated into the stuff they're making or listening to, and that's wrong. That's silly. That's becoming your parents, because time in memoriam has given us this, right? Hello, Camp G, mate. Time in memoriam is this. Your parents never understood your music. Now, this is not new. It's not new. Parents thought rock and roll was the devil's music. Elvis was swinging his hips and you were going to hell for listening to it, right? Your parents have always disliked the music that kids listen to. It's just always been that way. And I'm cool with that, right? But you remember when you were a kid, yeah? And you thought, and you would explain to your parents that didn't like your music and go, but this is what it is. And you'd try to get them on board, right? You'd try to get them on board and go, no, this is Slayer, Dad, right? And Kerry King. And it was pointless. It's like yelling into a fan. It was not going to work, right? And you know what? Now thinking back at it, I didn't want my parents to understand my music. Then I probably would have hated the music, right? So it was a good thing. Yeah. But the thing is, as we get older too, we start to naturally go, I don't understand that music that kids do today. And you've had to have done it at least once. Yeah, it's a thing. We naturally don't understand things that kids do today because, for example, I didn't even know what this was. And I'm sure none of you know what this is. And I hope I don't get a claim for it, but I'm going to try and find it. Or I'll say what it's called first. And you can tell me if you've heard of this. I'm just doing a search. I found this the other night and it's what's it called? Something toilet. Toilet. Oh man. That's the head in the toilet. Has anyone seen it? Something toilet. Let's see. Head in toilet. It's called Biggly something. Here we are. Skibbity toilet. Yeah, Skibbity toilet. Does anyone know what Skibbity toilet is, right? I saw Skibbity toilet for the first time the other night. This thing's been running for ages, and it started out as a goddamn toilet, an image of a toilet. Now, all the assets from this thing, it's animation. It's taken from a video game made in the fucking 90s, right? Half-Life. It's all the assets from Half-Life. And it's a toilet with a head that pops out and does scat and goes skibbity bibbity boo 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 boo. And that's how it started. And that was it. That's it. And then they released another thing with the toilet appearing somewhere else and then somewhere else. And now the videos are like these fucking 12-minute wars where it looks like a fucking Hollywood movie. And I'm looking at it going, what is this? But you know what? Awesome. I probably would have loved it when I was a kid. I probably would have thought this is sick. Why? Because it's stupid. It's a head in a toilet singing scat, and it's turned into this huge thing that's just wild and over the top. So look it up, Skibbity Toilet. There's like 73 episodes of it, and you'll find a YouTube channel that has all 70 episodes or something, you know. I don't want to play it just in case I get claimed. I don't know how it kind of works. Maybe I can show it. I'm not even going to risk it. But the point of it is that, you know, most adults are going to look at that and go, I don't get it. You're not meant to fucking get it. It's not for you. Unless you are able to free your mind and look past the rejection of things you don't understand. And for me, now we're backtracking again. Give me a sec. Okay. So it gets back to this thing of listening to metal, and my blinkers were on, and then I did a music course in year 12, and I was forced to sing pop music because I did this year-long music course, and they forced me to, well, as part of the course, you join a band. There's 3 bands in the course, and you have to learn 50 covers, and then by halfway through the year, then you start touring as a band at other schools, and then by the end of the year, you go on a tour actually around the state and play real gigs. And I had to learn 50 covers of stuff I didn't really like the B-52s. I really wasn't a big B-52s, Nick Kershaw and just all these artists that I would never really sing. But what it did was it opened my eyes back up to understand that metal is my thing, but there's all this other music out there that's just as important and has value, even though I don't listen to it. And it's been one of those things that for me personally has been able to ground myself over and over again the older I get. And when I hear something that's not necessarily my cup of tea, be able to go, instead of, that's shit, go, wow, it's not really my cup of tea, but hey, I can see what's going on with it. I can see why people like it. Absolutely understand why people like it, because people's tastes are utterly different. And because it's not your cup of tea doesn't mean there's no skill level behind it. Doesn't mean it's not music. People throw away the term like hate. It's like we've got Country Fest coming up with G-May. And the longest time joke, as a musician, we all know this joke. I don't like country and Western, Country music's been the butt of the joke for a long, long time. Of course I'm a Milli Vanilli fan. Blame it on the rain. Yeah, of course I am. Why wouldn't I be? That was a very big moment in music history. That was the first time an artist got busted for cheating. That was wild. I remember that time. That was because music had been under the magnifying glass for a period of time going, they're mass producing it, Stock Aitken and Waterman mass producing these sound machine hits, and they're making these pop stars. And Milli Vanilli was the act that fucking blew it all out the water and put the spotlight on bullshit artists who are faking it. Of course, I remember them. I remember seeing that video clip for the first time and going, they're not singing that. What's going on? That's not real. But this leads me to some of we're at the halfway point. So every day on the show, I'll take a breath because I'm a bit excited today. There's so much I want to talk about this because it excites me. Yeah. We'll have our break here. Every day I have to run an ad on YouTube because it pays the bills. So you can avoid the ad by becoming a YouTube Premium subscriber or skipping the ad, and we'll wait for you to come back. The ad has been run. Give me a second to have a vape and a drink. I don't have any thumbnails to show you because I haven't done them yet because I'm a bit behind, and it is what it is. All right. Where were we? So, not writing off stuff that you aren't into. It's important. It's important to not, verbalize, oh, I hate that. No. Because you don't. You really think about it. I used to throw around the word hate for music all the time, like for nu metal, okay? Now, I listen to many, many styles of nu metal. Of metal, sorry. When nu metal came out, I disliked nu metal. I just can't get into it. I don't know why. I tried. And hey, look, there's been some songs I've heard very sparingly. There might be one that I heard somewhere and go, That's all right. But I just overall couldn't get into nu metal. I understood the concept of Anthrax mixing rap with metal, but as soon as I got to nu metal, and it was all of a sudden there's all these short-haired dudes like singing love ballads to this, I just didn't get it, and that's okay. It's not for me. But I stupidly was like, I hate nu metal. Nu metal sucks. It's not metal. It shouldn't be. But that was wrong. And thankfully, I got out of that. I just don't listen to it. Right? And if you like nu metal, have at it. Please have at it. Love it, enjoy it. It's fantastic if it makes you happy. It's still not something I can get into. That doesn't mean that it's not metal, because for some people, it is metal and they class it as metal. And I'm not the gatekeeper of metal. Now, there's a word that's very important with music that, is a thing. There's a lot of people that gatekeep music, that gatekeep a lot of things and tell you, no, that's not metal. And it's like, sorry, you're the king of music. Have you got the exclusive rights to what's metal and what's not? Is there an application I have to put through to get this listed as metal? And I used to be one of those people. I was one of those gatekeepers, and I'm so glad that I'm not, because I look now and see my old friends who are still like that, gatekeeping at every moment, going, oh, sorry, not metal. It's like, fuck off. Honestly, how about going and listening to the metal, man? Hey, Hugh, what's going on? And live to fly. So, now, my metal license is suspended. Now, I've had people tell me, oh, you're not metal anymore, you've changed. It's like, really? I've changed? I've always been weird and made, even when I was in metal bands, right? No one knew where to put my metal band. My band despised. They never knew where to put us. We would do gigs with we'd be on a bill one week with a bunch of death metal bands. The next week we'd be on with a bunch of power metal bands. The next gig, no one knew where to put us in the music industry because our music didn't fit. Because my idea of metal had become so much ingrained of I listened to so much different music that it had all meshed into this one thing. And if I can find it, we'll take a break for a second and let me play you a song from my band that I was in for years. And we'd do all these gigs and people would stand at the front of the stage watching us going, we don't get it. It's like, good. I'm not making music for you to get. I'll play you a short one. Let's play a short one. We'll take a break here. Let's play, what do we play? We'll play, so here's the album. It's available on the streaming services if you like. It's called Drama. Let's play it. Oh, here we go. Let's go.
Tell me that Tory don't
So now I see people putting different. Look at it, Stone Temple Pilots, Red Death. Most of these bands weren't even in existence when that stuff was written. You know, this stuff was written in the late '80s. You know what I'm saying? So we didn't fit. We didn't fit any fucking mold whatsoever. Nobody knew where to put us, so we got looked at as freaks and we're weird, and that was cool. I love that stuff. Cool. I don't want to fit in with your style of shit because you're all the same. And I think this is partly where Rick Beato was heading to with his video on that music is getting homogenized. I think that's more the term that he's talking about because it kind of is. It's easier to make music than ever before, right? In saying that, remember, you still have to learn this stuff. You still have to learn. Like, just because now you don't have to go out and buy a huge Marshall cab and a whole bunch of pedals, you still got to buy software and you still got to learn how to use it. And you still got to learn how to use a DAW and you still got to learn how you play your instruments and you still have to learn. And there are musical genres out there where you don't necessarily have to learn, like trap beats and all that kind of stuff. And it still doesn't mean that it's not music. You know, I used to be that person. I used to sit there and go, no, DJs, it's not music. But thankfully, I've grown out of that and I'm not in that position anymore because it is music. Because why is it music? Because it makes people move and it makes people get excited and it means stuff to people. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter how it was made. It doesn't matter, you know, if it means something to somebody, then it's okay. Is there shit music out there? Yes, there's a lot. There's a lot of shit music, and there's always been shit music. And when I say shit music, I mean music that is poorly made, poorly recorded, poorly performed, where bits go out of time, and the production is god awful. There's probably more of that these days flooding our market than there was back in the days where you had to get records pressed and tapes pressed and you had to go into a studio and it was, you know, less affordable to create stuff, you know. So, but it doesn't mean that there wasn't music out there, right? That was shit. Ask any producer, and I'm planning on doing a whole bunch of series coming up here on the channel where I go to recording studios and talk to and go and sit down and check out recording studios and talk to artists, to engineers in their studios about recording these days because people are still using recording studios, yeah? Still using them. And that doesn't mean because a band records something in a recording studio that they're good. Trust me, I have seen bands recording in a studio who absolutely have no idea how to play their stuff. And I'm telling you, when I do this series, you are going to hear, go and watch Glenn's channel where he talks about musicians coming in who don't even know how to play their freaking guitars. This is a thing, you know, that people are terrible at actually understanding their own music. Music 2000 PlayStation is all the creative, just depends on the tools that you have. I used Music 2000, right, on PlayStation to write the first FMC album. All the drums on that are Music 2000 on PlayStation. And when we did gigs, we would have the PlayStation on the stage with a television set, and our drummer had a PlayStation controller and would click the X button to set the drums off, and we'd all play to it. It doesn't matter how you make music, what tools you use, right? It's the way you put everything into it and sell it and make it believable and make it interesting enough for people to get into it. The tools mean shit. It's understanding music. Like there still is the whole point of learning music and understanding it and understanding recording at the simplicity, the actual recording of the take. The take is important and the mixing is important, all that stuff. And you just don't know that. You're going to learn that by doing it and releasing shit that's not so good, and you'll get better and better. You know, I'm still getting, hopefully, better and better each time I release stuff. I go back through my catalog and listen to a whole bunch of shit I released that is crap. But for some reason, people go, that's really good. And I'm like, really? You deaf? Hello, Falcro. I see you there. It was easy. Anyway, let's talk about like creating music. Now that we've moved on to there. So the first part of this was about, don't become your parents. That's what the OK Boomer stuff is. Don't become your parents and shut stuff out just because it's not in your particular style, right? Or I don't understand it. Don't be that. It's very easy to pull yourself up on it and not be that, because I know there's many of us who have kids, and who wants to be that? I don't want to be that parent that goes, oh, I want to understand all the music you listen to. But I'll tell you what I don't want to do. I don't want to be my parent, right? My dad was just, I don't understand it, so it's shit. And it's like, no, dude. No, you don't understand it. That's where the sentence ends. I don't understand it. I'm glad you enjoy it. That's the next sentence. Don't be that person. Don't crush shit on people's fucking taste and things that they like, because you'll end up being that person who's in the chat, or on Facebook, and somebody posts something and goes, I just got the new iPhone. And your first thought will be, I don't like iPhones. The iPhone's shit, and hit enter. Don't shit on people's parades just because you don't like it, right? Don't do that. It's stupid. You are becoming a boomer. You are becoming your parents. The exact same person that you looked at and went, why? Why are you so angry about this stuff? Why are you shit on the stuff that I like? So that is the main point of this. But talking about the way we consume music, which is the second part of Rick Beato's video. And I don't agree with all of this too, yeah? So Rick Beato has this concept of kids don't understand music because we just have it on tap now. And if they lived in our time and had to go buy the album each time and sit there and listen to it and go through the lyrics, and they'd appreciate music even more. How the fuck do you know how much these kids appreciate the music? Even because they're listening to it on TikTok, or because they're consuming it through a Roblox video, or they're consuming it however, doesn't mean that they're enjoying it any less than you enjoyed sitting there, buying an album and reading the back of it and enjoying it. Just because they're only like one track compared to a whole album doesn't mean that people enjoy music less than you did when you were young and you bought albums. Because as we covered at the beginning, when you bought albums, how many times did you buy a shit one based on the artwork? Lots. So it didn't matter, right? And it happens now too. Like, even though it's easier to get music, and look, we're probably all guilty of it. We're all guilty of it, that there's so much music because of streaming, we can get it so easily that we kind of don't give it the value it kind of deserves. But is that us, or is that the record industry continuing to tighten the screws as they always have by making music feel less valuable? Like it's them who are in control, just because now the easiest way to get music is to go through a streaming service. It doesn't mean that you can't just whitewash everybody and say people don't understand music or don't value music. It's not us who's in control of the value of music. We're the shit kickers. We're underneath all these people at the top who are just obsessed with money. And the labels have been obsessed with money forever. And all they've been doing from day one is trying to manipulate the musician to get to squeeze as much out of us as they possibly can and throw us away because there's somebody else who's releasing another piece of music that they can manipulate to be popular. That's the way it is. Hello, Jamie Dude and Ivan. I'm so puffed out because I'm so excited about this topic. I have no problem if somebody finds a song by watching a TikTok video of some idiot dancing around and then they listen to it. You know why? Because they're enjoying it. Sure, as a species, our attention spans seem to be shrinking. But again, is that us? Or is it the influx of information, the way people are trying to sidetrack us, the psychological warfare that is going on in this world to keep us jumping to the next thing, to the next thing, to the next thing. So before long, we forget about this important thing and we're all broken, homeless. And, it's all about money. It's all about money. The record labels have been in control of this whole value of music from and they are where we're at right now. Right? Where we're at right now, music has so little value because of the music labels. Even with AI, right? I've done shows here about AI. AI shit music. Even though Udio and Suno just released a major update and the quality has picked up a little bit and you can split stems and all that stuff, it's still shit. It's still rubbish. You can pick it straight away. It sounds like crap. It sounds manufactured. The vocal lines are just odd. It has no soul. It just is what it is. And it's never going to have a soul. Ever. I don't care what anybody says. And if you're making it and trying to bang home into people's minds, no, but this is good, then I'll tell you what, the only people who are doing that, who are drumming home that AI is good, are people who can't make music, who suck at making music. I can think of one off the top of my head. I can think of 20. And you look at all the YouTube channels of people who are like going, no, look at this AI music. None of them make music. They're just AI bros, right? So let's get into the value of music. While we're here, the value of music still is high to many of us. And Rick Beato says in his video, again, I'm not shitting on Rick Beato. He has all my respect, even though he hasn't really produced many good albums as a producer or any... Hang on, let me rephrase it. In Rick Beato's terms, he always focuses on great songs, but those great songs are always like Billboard hits. He hasn't actually produced a Billboard hit or anything of note or anything that's been big enough for anyone to give a shit about. There's that. But he talks about the way that people would go out and buy albums and sit there and absorb them. And he thinks that now, because it's so easy to get music, to stream it and all that stuff, that he just whitewashes everybody and makes out like there's not people out there like myself, and I know many people possibly here watching this who do go out to look for good music, who go onto Bandcamp and troll for new music and try and find artists that nobody's heard of. I do this all the fucking time because I'm not satisfied with the shit that is shoved in my face. It's rubbish, the most of it, in my opinion. I go, okay, it's not my taste. So I still have to go out and go and find the stuff. So it is... Sure, I'm not going out and getting on a train and going to the city into a record store and buying this album and taking it all the way home and risking my money. I'm doing it from my home now, but I'm still going out there and looking for stuff that I like. And if I played half the stuff I liked here to you guys, you probably wouldn't be watching me because you probably wouldn't enjoy it because the stuff I like is weird. Yeah? And the way I make music doesn't appeal to everybody because I'm weird. I like to make music that I'll make a song and then destroy it and break it all apart and make it unlistenable and do something out of the box because I'm weird. And I like being weird because it's fun, because everybody else is boring. The point is that just because when and the other thing too, when Rick Beato released that video and said and sat there, the little scene that he had holding the vinyl, talking about it, how precious those moments were about vinyl. People are buying vinyl more and more and more and more and more and more, and they're doing that. So when Rick Beato says nobody's doing this anymore, bullshit. There's lots of people who are consuming music in different ways. Some of them TikTok, some of them Roblox, some of them this. There's many of us have kids who watch YouTube videos like bloody Skibbity Toilet and are finding music that way. It doesn't matter how you find music. The most important thing is that people are listening to music and enjoying it and getting enjoyment, or it's helping them get through tough times, or it's helping them feel happy about this stuff. There shouldn't be a correct way for people to get music. There shouldn't be poo-pooing about, but that person got their music from Skibbity Toilet. Doesn't matter, right? But what is happening, let's be honest about the music industry is still controlled by the labels. So much so that they are trying to stop AI music, not because they don't think it's music, because they're trying to find a way to monetize it and then sell it to you. So they do less work. There's less artists they have to deal with, and then they can just release shit that is AI generated. That's their next. If you can't see what's going on here, if you can't follow the timeline and see what's really happening, then you better wake up quick, because the record labels are the ones behind AI music. They're already flooding Spotify with this shit, playlists full of it. And they already have teamed with companies to license out their major artists, so you will be able to install a VST into your door and turn your voice into J-Lo. They're already doing that. It's not that they give a fuck about music. They don't care. They give a fuck about this. It's always been about this. And they give a fuck about squashing humanity out of music, because you know what? Humans are the pain in the ass. They're the thing that they have to deal with and go, oh God, here's 5 cents for your song. There you go. We're like the fly in the ointment to the record industry. If there's a way they could produce music without us, they are going to do it. So, and when we shit on Spotify, lastly, let's talk about this. Remember, it's not Spotify, because the major labels have major ownership in Spotify. You need to remember that. Spotify is just the middleman to the major labels, right? But we have the power. We have the power to decide how we consume music. And no way is the right or wrong way. And we have the power to learn to become better musicians, right? And eventually, I am a believer of eventually these things just burst. Like this, right? The world seems like it's spinning out of control at the moment. The people in power are turning the screws, and they don't give a shit about us, and it's just a circus. Look at the politics in America, right? But eventually, right, that screw will get turned too many times, and people will fight back. Why? Because they'll have to. Because once they're kicked out of their homes and they can't afford to eat and they can't feed their families, people will fight back. There will always be a time. And it's the same thing with music. Once the music industry turns the screws so tightly and introduces AI and they cut out the musician, the music will go underground, and the people who love music will, you'll always have people who listen to that shit and they're content with it. But music will not go away. And music is all good. Even the stuff that's badly produced and badly recorded. Why? Because everybody goes through that when they record music. You start off at zero. Pete John says this all the time. I see him in the chat. And you get better as you go on. And you'll know this if you've released music. You can go back through your old catalogue and see, yeah, that was shit that I released then. Because you'll get better if you want to get better. If you don't want to get better, you'll just keep releasing the same thing over and over again. And that's okay too. That's what makes you happy. That's the most important thing. Consume the music the way you want to consume it. Listen to the music that you want to listen to. Try to listen to music outside of the music that you listen to. But whatever you do, don't shit on people for the music that they like to listen to. Because there's always something in it that may contribute to the way you make music even better. All right? Hi, Frank Terzo. Look at this guy here. This guy comes on Gmay's stream yesterday, outs me for being a stoner. Outs me. And you know what? Don't get upset at people like Rick Beato. Don't get upset at him. Just don't become a boomer, right? If you feel yourself yelling at clouds and going, rah, 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 getting all upset about the way people make music or the people, how they consume or the way they make music or what they listen to, just stop and go, shh, quiet your mind, shut your mouth, don't let your fingers type. Just let people enjoy what they enjoy. It doesn't matter, really. It has no impact on your life. But try to get better. Try to get better. Yeah? Try to learn something every day. Try to make your music creation better than last time. Just even if it's a small thing each day, just try and learn something and see if you can make your music better. Just don't sit in the pocket. Don't take the status quo. All right? Have fun. And don't be a boomer, right? That's one of the things I'm very happy about, that I don't look at people's music and get angry about it. Just let people enjoy their stuff, because not everybody's going to enjoy your music as well. And you know what? That's okay. Speaking of which, tomorrow I'll be making some music that you probably won't like. And that's okay. So come and join me here on the live stream tomorrow. There will be a pre-recorded video come up before tomorrow's show, like it happens every day now. And Pete Johns is coming up next. So thank you for hanging out and letting me run out of breath and scream my views and stuff like that. But look, as always, this is meant to berate or anything like that, to encourage. That's what this channel is about. It always has been, to get better, do the things that make you happy. Mistakes make you better, and we'll all rise together. Stay awake. Pete Johns is up next. And I love you all. Let's Oge.